Hey everyone, I am Keshia White, and I help new service providers attract premium, high-paying clients online. Make sure you grab my free guide on the 10 essentials that your business must have to attract more high-paying clients. The link is in the show notes underneath this video. And also make sure you like the video. Make sure you subscribe to my channel so you always know when I upload, and leave me a comment and let me know which tip was most helpful for you. And lastly, make sure you share this video as well if you find it helpful for your mindset today. So I'm going to talk about 5 habits of successful people in today's video. And the reason why I want to share that is because very often, a lot of times people put successful people, whether it's maybe in their careers or whether it's as entrepreneurs, they seem to like put them on a pedestal and almost kind of like think that they can never be where that person is, or maybe that person has some type of special advantage that they just don't have. And people make so many false assumptions about what it takes to be successful. And then a lot of times people kind of chalk it up to say like, well, maybe that person just got lucky or something like that. But none of that is even true. 9 times out of 10, the way the person became successful was by using the 5 habits that I'm going to share with you here today. And as you'll be able to see, those 5 habits can be adopted by anybody out there. It's not just exclusive to a certain type of person. And you don't want to be someone who talks yourself out of being successful before you even try, because to me, that's where most people typically mess up. Like before they even try to get on the path to becoming successful, they end up talking themselves out of it. They tell themselves why it's not possible for them. And then it really becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. And they end up stuck in the same place year after year. They never really achieve what they really want to achieve. And their life kind of gets in this stagnant point where they don't really realize their full potential. So when you face the reality that becoming a successful person really has nothing to do with your background, nothing to do with your race, nothing to do with your gender, nothing to do with being born into privilege, nothing to do with being born with money. It's just habits that you can change and you can adopt to. Then you can really own your power to be able to create whatever life you want to create for yourself by following these 5 habits, no matter who you are, no matter where you might be today. So the very first thing is that successful people focus on solutions and not just problems. These types of people are focused on what they can do more than what they can't do. And they are not like caught up in just worrying about all these quote unquote obstacles that are getting in their way from getting what they want. So this is one of the biggest things I see nowadays, especially on social media, even just reading the way a lot of people speak. So many people out there, it almost seems like maybe they just like talking about problems more than they like identifying solutions. It's kind of weird, but just so many people I can tell, they have their mindsets trained to just regurgitate problems. Like they may just continue saying why this is a problem, why that is a problem, why this can't be done, and why that can't be done. And then for everything that someone may try to offer them as a solution, they give you 10 reasons why it can't work. And that is not a habit of a successful person. Like a successful person thinks totally differently, because when you're thinking all in terms of problems and what you can't do, that's going to cause you to get stuck and you're not going to do anything. You're just going to be still sitting there with the quote unquote problem, whatever that might be, year after year after year. So like if you're having a problem in your career to where you can't get to the level you want to get to, or you're having a problem in your business to where you can't get sales, like whatever the issues are, if you are someone that's just going to regurgitate the problems and just continue to talk about why you can't, the problem is never going to go away. But on the other side of the coin, successful people, they still have problems too. Like successful people are not exempt from problems. Like they just never have any problems to deal with, but they just handle their problems differently. So oftentimes with successful people, instead of worrying about what they can't do to solve a problem, they flip it and they focus on what can they do. Like what do they have access to? What ability do they have? What skill set do they possess that they can put into play to help them overcome a certain type of obstacle or problem that they are dealing with. And typically that's just the way their minds operate in general. Like, instead of where a lot of people are trained to automatically harp on problems and complain, like the successful mindset people, they're trained to automatically focus on solutions, focus on solutions, focus on solutions. Like, that's just the way their minds work. So one habit that you absolutely must adopt is, whenever problems come your way, stop focusing on the problem. Focus on what you can do to solve the problem. Don't get caught up in complaining. Don't get caught up talking about all the stuff you can't do. Focus on what you can do, what abilities do you have, and start there. Because typically with successful people, they may not have just like all the resources to spend on a bunch of advertising to get more sales in their businesses, but maybe they hustle a bit more and they do some more social media marketing. Maybe they collaborate with someone and get in front of a new audience. Or in the job searching world, maybe you don't have all the contacts that you have access to get the job that you want. But a successful person, maybe they start trying to develop the contacts. They start trying to develop new relationships. So you can't just sit there and be like, I don't have this or I don't have that. You have to be the type that's going to figure out how you can get it, because there's always a way to get what you want to get to wherever you want to be. So just remember that. Focus on the solutions and not problems. So the second successful habit is focusing on getting better at what you do and just really being committed to being the best. So whereas a lot of people who are kind of more on the average scale, which is fine, but I guess could be fine for if that's where they want to be. But a lot of times they are not necessarily worried about being the best. They're just kind of doing enough just to get by, or I guess just to not get fired from your job, or just to kind of meet the bare minimum in your business, not too worried about growing it exponentially. But a successful person, they want to become the best at what they do. Because when you're becoming the best at what you do, that opens up a lot of opportunities for you. So like when you're super committed to being the best, like at work, you are going to get recognized. Like you're going to be the one who they are going to go to give a raise. Like, and it won't be such a hard sell if you have to ask for a raise. And if you're the best at what you do in your business, you're going to stand out for amongst other people in your industry who may offer the same things. Because everything, no matter what you select to focus on, there's competition. Like there's other people who do the same things that you do, both in business and in your career. So a habit of a successful person is to always focus on how can they get better? Like how can they rise to the top? How can they refine their skills? Like what little thing do they need to work on to elevate and to get to the next level? Because oftentimes when people leave school, I feel like in school, you're kind of like forced to continue to like level up, I guess, as you get bumped up from grade to grade, and you're having to learn new information for each grade that you go on to. But when you are out in the real world, there's not really anybody keeping tabs on you and kind of telling you to like, okay, well, you need to get better at this next, and you need to get better at that next, and you need to elevate your skills over here next. Like you have to take your responsibility for yourself and your life to get better at whatever it is that you want to improve in. And remember that it's your responsibility. Like you can't necessarily complain about not getting the clients you want, not getting the opportunities that you want, if you're not committed to being the best. Because not being the best can cause you to miss out on opportunities. It can cause you to miss out on jobs. It can cause you to miss out on clients. And that's just the way the world works. Like not everybody is going to necessarily end up with the same outcome if you're not performing on the same level. So you want to focus on performing at your best, highest level. Like whatever skill set you may have a gap in, look for what you need to learn. Like get a book, get on YouTube like you are now, get some type of online training course or just something to help you get better, because there are so many resources at our fingertips now. Many of them are free or very cost effective, not even expensive. So there truly is like no excuse nowadays to not have your skill sets up to par to be the best at what you do, because being the best elevates you to new levels. People notice you when you're the best. You get reached out to for opportunities, and life can truly just change when you are the best. And so the third thing, a habit for successful people, is to have very clear goals with specific action steps to get there, and do not allow fear to stop you from reaching those goals. So again, this kind of reminds me of the whole like once you leave school thing. A lot of people just kind of float through life, right? Like they don't necessarily have specific like outcomes, I guess, that they're trying to go after, especially when it comes to sometimes, I guess, people, if they're more career oriented, they may have specific career goals, or super business oriented may have specific business goals. But a lot of people just kind of go on autopilot where they just kind of float through life and they don't necessarily have like specific goals that they want to reach or go after. They may kind of talk about things that sound nice to them, but when it comes down to it, like what actions are they actually putting in to get there? There's usually not a lot of action. Like people may complain about like, oh, I hate my job, and oh, I would love to have an entrepreneur like lifestyle and start a business one day. But then when it comes down to like, what are you actually doing to get there? A lot of times they don't have any answers because they don't have any real action steps and plans to get to where they want to be. So a habit of a successful person is to not just stop at dreaming and not just stop at wanting, and definitely don't talk yourself, again, like I've said in number one, don't talk yourself out of something and tell yourself it's not possible for you before you even try. You have to decide what you want goal wise in your life, like whether you want to make a certain amount of money, you want to live in a certain type of home, you want a certain type of career, you want a certain type of business. Decide what you want and then figure out what actions do you need to take to get there, and then focus on that first action and just go from there and get that first action done and get the second action done, the third, and on from there. And before you know it, you're on the path to really changing your life instead of staying stuck. And then the piece on the fear aspect of that is that a lot of times when people are doing things to drive them towards the direction of whatever they want in their lives, they typically have to do things that challenge them and that push them out of their comfort zones, that kind of may kind of create some fear that bubbles up inside of them when they do it. But successful people, they learn how to act despite the fear. Like successful people are not necessarily sitting around being all the time like fearless, not experiencing anything scary. Like they're scared too, and they're also experiencing fear too. But the difference is that they don't let that fear just stop them and make them just sit down and just stay stuck in a place where they really don't want to be. So you have to make the decision with yourself and know that these are the goals that I want to reach in my life. These are my action steps, and no matter how uncomfortable I may feel, no matter how like outside of my comfort zone I may feel, I am not going to let it stop me from going after what I want. And then the fourth habit is successful people are very, very persistent and they do not give up easily. So this one is huge again. I guess all of them are kind of huge. But one of the things I see with people who don't necessarily reach their goals or who don't get to where they want to be is that they give up so easily. Like they do not hang in there even when the results are slow to come and even when things get tough. And so this is why I kind of have a hard time using the word failure at certain things, because I'm kind of like, I don't know if you really failed or did you just really not want to do it? You just gave up. Because 9 times out of 10, if someone is like, oh, so-and-so's business just failed, it's probably because they gave up and they probably could have tried something else. They probably could have tried another strategy. Maybe they could have tried another sales tactic. Maybe they could have sold another product. Who knows? But they decided to just give up instead of persisting and continuing to try. And then even going after whatever career types you want. To me, yeah, you do have to be a little bit flexible in the career world to see what skills are in demand and kind of go after that. But even as you're doing that, you want to make sure you are persistent until you get the opportunity that you want in that in-demand field that you're going after. And a lot of times people never get to where they want to be because they just give up too quick and they kind of just deem it not possible before they even try everything. And a lot of times if you ask people like that, like what all did you actually try to get to where you wanted to be, where you felt like you couldn't get, they would kind of just, I don't know, tell you a couple of things that they maybe tried and it wouldn't even be everything. But you have to have the kind of mindset, I call it the mindset of like squeezing every single drop of juice, like out of an orange or out of a lemon or something like that, to make sure you try every single thing you can think of before you just give up and just deem something a failure. Because typically the people who make it and who are successful, yes, they went through obstacles. Yes, they probably had a few like mini I guess, failures, things that maybe didn't work along the way. Maybe things ended up being more hard than they thought. Maybe it took longer than they thought. But the thing about it is that they didn't let any of that stuff stop them and just cause them to just, quote unquote, just all the way just give up, and just to sit down and just say, this is impossible for me, I give up. And you don't want to do that. Like, you want to be super focused, make sure you are persistent, and don't even really, I guess, too, obstacles really truly are a part of life anyway. So just kind of almost expect it in a way, not necessarily like walking around being negative, expecting the other shoe to drop per se, but more so just knowing like, okay, I have this specific goal. No matter what obstacles pop up along the way, I'm going to be determined to keep going towards my goal. Like, I know some obstacles may come here and there, but I'm not going to let it stop me, because to me, a lot of times people create so much drama in their heads around like things that are obstacles, when at the end of the day, it's just a little problem that you may need to solve. Like I said in the first tip, and you just have to figure out what's the solution that you can try next to solve that problem. Like, it's not rocket science. It's not like you have to go out and build literally a rocket to go to Mars. Like, that's a pretty big problem to me to solve. But if you're just trying to figure out how to break into some dream career or how to start a business on the internet, that's not a complicated thing to do. Like, it's just you creating a bunch of drama in your head about it, making it more complicated than it really is. It just takes you putting in the work and doing it consistently, not letting anything stop you until you get there, and do not be someone who easily gives up, because successful people, as you can see, they do not easily give up. Like, they are determined, and then years after they put in that work, you see the work paying off in the forms of their lifestyle being more elevated. They are able to do the work they love. They're getting recognized, and people look at these people and think like, oh wow, they must be some overnight success. But no, they're not an overnight success. They were just the kinds of people who kept going, even when things got tough, and even when a lot of other people would have given up. And so the final thing, habit of successful people, is really taking care of themselves. So this is something where a lot of people, especially if you're ambitious, it can be easy to just get caught up in like all the work, and you don't necessarily take a lot of time for self-care. But most successful people, they do really like take that time to take care of themselves. So whether that's like having some type of spiritual practice and having gratitude for where they are right now, so you can stay energized internally, making sure you take care of your health, like eating good foods, getting enough rest, drinking enough water, being active and stuff like that. Then taking breaks from our screens, like these little social media things. Like, it's great sometimes, of course, to learn new things off social media, to make new connections. But at the end of the day, you do need time to recharge, to get back in touch with yourself, let your brain rest, get a break from all that blue light. And so like taking time to unplug from phones, like maybe read a book, maybe get some rest, do some meditation, and do some journaling or something like that. And then even spending time outside. Like, a lot of successful people tend to take walks and stuff outside, like things that can really clear their head, allow those creative juices to flow. Because the more you take care of yourself first, your energy levels are higher, and then you're able to be I guess better at work, I guess, or whatever your work is, because you have more energy and you can focus better. And then you also can come up with more creative, cool ideas too, because people who are doing those cool, innovative things, they take time to kind of reflect and have like thinking time, and just kind of unplug from things. Like I said, get outside and walk and just let your mind get clear. Like, I love when I do walk outside, I don't even want to listen to music. I just want to hear nature. And I don't want to hear anything, because I just want, like, if any cool ideas flow, like, I just want the ideas to come through. So whatever it is that you like to do for your self-care, you should definitely be doing that, because successful people are usually disciplined about taking care of themselves, because discipline is, I guess, a big piece of being successful too. Like, you have to be disciplined to put in the work every day. And discipline also comes in how you take care of yourself, your mind, body, spirit, all of that stuff comes into play. So I hope you enjoyed those habits of successful people. I encourage you to go out there, use these habits, and know that no goal, no outcome, no anything that you want in life is too out of reach for you. Anything you want, you can have in your life. It's just up to you putting these habits into place so you can get on the path towards going after what you want. So if you are interested in starting a business selling a service online, so this could be any done for you service, one-on-one coaching or consulting, and you want to figure out how can you attract more high paying clients, the clients that'll pay you premium for what you do, like $1,000, $2,000, $3,000, $5,000 for what you do, make sure you grab my free checklist on the 10 essentials that your business must have to attract more high paying clients online. It's at the link in the description box. And also make sure you subscribe to my channel so you can know when I upload. And last but not least, make sure you like the video, leave me a comment and let me know what was helpful, and share it if you found this helpful as well. So thanks for checking out the video, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.